Welcome back to Gunner Fan TV and welcome back to another video. Week 15, Aston Villa versus Arsenal at Villa Park. Unfortunately, it did not go away this weekend. We suffered a defeat against Aston Villa, 2-1 defeat. Positive from this, and I think this is probably the only positive we could take. We are still top of the league with 2 points. I know that gap has gotten smaller. CD is now breathing down our neck. Also, Villa, which is third, 3 points behind us, but we're going to talk about it. But before I get into it, guys, I want to go ahead and thank each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel. I am now at 50 subscribers, and I really appreciate that. I know for some people that's a small number, but for me, it's huge because you guys took time out of your time. 50 of you guys decided to smash that subscribe button and show me some love. So I appreciate that, guys. Now, I went ahead and I watched the game a second time because sometimes when you put out content after a game, it's more emotional than anything. You kind of your delivery is based on your emotions at the time. So I waited a second day and I kind of watched the game again over just to give kind of a different perspective and just to see if I missed anything. What I noticed is Villa came out with the intent to win, and I know that should be for every team, every game, every team wants to win, but that's not always true. Some team just comes for a draw, right? Some teams are just trying to not be embarrassed. But I think in this game, Emery definitely had the desire to win. You know what I'm saying? He came out with a plan and he executed the plan very well. From the start of the game, he realized that we weren't able to build from the back because we didn't have the players that are adept at doing that in Gabriel and Saliba, right? One of our strongest attack is actually from the back. Like that's a method that we use to start play. We start building from the back, move it around. The passing is very concise, it's very effective, it's quick. We lost that element this weekend. And I mean, it's no fault of anybody else who's in that position because those are the guys that we have available and we have to use them. But it was a problem today. It was evident that we weren't quick enough moving the ball and we weren't able to build from the back effectively. And I think Emery took advantage of that by pressing. And it wasn't just a single player pressing or even two. Sometimes we had three or four players just pressing. And then he had a second line of press. If we got past that, then the midfielders were right there to kind of cover down and press some more. So it was very difficult for us to gain that advantage that we've always used in previous games to build from the back and progressively move forward. So I noticed that today again while watching the game, and they were very good at doing that. It was very well executed by Villa, and I think that was one of the reasons why we didn't win this game and why we were penned back, not for all the game, but effectively there were some issues there preventing us from pulling them in and then hitting them on the attack. But we had control over the game. In the first 17, 20 minutes, we had the most we had more possession of the ball. The most possession of the ball we was to Arsenal. We were moving the ball around. We had a couple chances. Odegaard, we were making effective passes in the final third. We looked dangerous. We looked like scoring, if I'm going to be honest. But it's just at the end, the execution wasn't there, right? They missed opportunities too because they were also on the attack. They weren't sitting back. They were pressing. They were winning the ball. They were creating chances. Their midfielders were effective. And Oli Watkins definitely missed a chance. I would say it was a good save by Rhea, but when you watch it again, you know, it was kind of close to Rhea to save that you want him to make. Like if he's good enough, a class keeper should make that save. But it was an opportunity missed, if I'm going to be honest, because Watkins should have put that away. Cash had a couple chances, the warning signs. It was there. Like we saw it, I saw it, and I think what Mikel should have done was kind of pull Calafiori back because he was just marauding all over the field, which that's how he plays. Don't get me wrong; he's been good in his position since the start of the season, so I'm not going to knock him on that. Like he's been playing well compared to last season. He's settled in to this position, so I'm not going to knock him for that. But what I would say, Mikel should have just pulled him back into that defensive posture because Eze is an attacking player. Like his mindset is attacking. So to have him cover down in that position, well, you could see, like I saw, even the commentator was pointing it out. Hey, look where Calafiori is. Like he's over the half line. You know what I'm saying? While Eze was kind of sitting back, kind of defending a little bit. And that's not his game. His best position is going forward, right? And he fell asleep back there. And honestly, I can't cover for him because as a professional, you have to be switched on at all times, and he wasn't switched on, and that cost us the goal. But you could see it coming because Cash had a chance where Rice had to step in and he had to block it. Had to do one of these, and you know, he didn't really, hit him in the rib cage or something like that. You saw that he was in some kind of pain, but there were signs. There were telling signs, and Mikel didn't really fix that. He allowed Calafiori to continue going forward and inverting and all of that stuff. Where he should have been like, you know what, Calafiori, just play that left back position and just cover down some more because there's a threat right here. All right. However, they scored. We still had possession of the ball the first half. Like I'm watching it today and I'm seeing it again that we had possession. We were controlling the game. It was too much control at times. Where we had simple passes to make, like Mikel Marino had a pass to make to Saka and he just overhit it. Stuff like that was kind of annoying. There was an offside goal, so we were creating chances. We had possession and we were creating chances. Looked okay, but we just weren't executing correctly. Second half, changes were made, which I had no problems with it because Eze wasn't performing well, right? They were just that position is not his position, guys. If we're going to be honest, that's not his position. Let's keep it 100, right? He's not a winger. He's not a left winger, right? He's good going forward through the middle. We know that. We've seen that when Odegaard was out. So I don't understand why Mikel Arteta keeps putting him there. I mean, maybe that's the only position because he's not going to take Odegaard out because Odegaard, that's his child. Like, he's the captain, he's the skipper. That's it. Eze needs to get used to that position. He needs to figure out what he has to do to make that position his. But right now, it's not working out. We got to figure something out on that side. Trossard came on. Obviously, he scored. The second half looked like we were going to score. We were the team that was going to score. We had possession, not just possession and control, but the intent. We were direct, right? Saka was taking players on. He was doing step overs. He stepped his game up in the second half, right? And it was evident because that pass came in from him. Odegaard had the opportunity, not Odegaard, correction, Yacarez, but it was a good fingertip by Martinez, and it kind of threw Yacarez off. And then Trossard was following up, boom, hit it straight into the goal. You know what I'm saying? So we came out with a different mentality. The mentality was, hey, we got to go, we got to score, we need to win this game, we need to put this game to bed. And it seemed like that for the first 10, 15, even 20 minutes. When I saw the change I saw was in the 70th minute when Unai Emery made some changes, tactical changes, took Onana out because I think he got tired. We were dominating the midfield, and he took him out, brought a couple players in, Sancho in, and a couple other players, and I think that's when it changed. Um, where we kind of sat back a little bit and allowed them to play, and that was a mistake. That's not our game, right? We're control freaks. Mikel Arteta is a control freak. So when you sit back and allow other teams to play, you're putting yourself at risk to concede goals. And they smelled blood. They realized that we weren't strong enough at the back because we lost. It's like we lost our head in the last 20 minutes of the game where we were just all over the place and they were just bombarding us with attack after attack and we just couldn't deal with it, right? And that's probably down to us not having our experienced defenders and maybe that winning mentality. And I think in the end, that's why we lost the game because that winning mentality is not there for the guys. They don't, majority of the players are not, they've never even won anything, right? Some of the players who just came in, like in Capier, he won in Germany, but that's a whole different league. Um, Yacarez won in Portugal. That's a whole different league. At this level, we don't have enough winners to have that mentality to know that, listen, hey guys, this is what we need to do. We need to lock in, we need to get this game over the line. If we're not going to win it, we're not going to lose. Right. And that wasn't, that was just the issue that I actually saw. We sat back too much. We got nervous. People were just kicking the ball out, just losing composure. Right. Um, can I blame Mikel? I blame him in some instance because I didn't think Saka should be taken out of the game because that wasn't his best game, but he looked better. He looked like something could happen from his side. So taking him out because he was on a card, I mean, I don't think Saka was going to get a red card. You may think differently. You may see it in a different way, but I think that he should have just kept Saka in because he looked dangerous. The goal came from his side. You know what I'm saying? And maybe at a point, continue putting in these crosses, going down the outside, putting the balls in. Something could have happened. For me, Odegaard needs to do better. Odegaard in this game, some people are going to say, yeah, he had a couple shots. What are we talking about? But it's the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing. I've been seeing this for months now. Compare him to Rodgers in this game. I know they're two different players. I get that. But compare both guys in the midfield yesterday. Rodgers was levels above Odegaard. You know what I mean? I know Rodgers is mobile. He'll help out defense and he attack, and he's skillful on the ball. He's techie. But Odegaard needs to give me something more. He needs to lift his game. Eze in that position, actually, his output was better. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to be honest, his output looked better. His directness. Odegaard, I don't know. I know he's coming back to fitness, and he's going to need more time. And we're probably going to see him again Wednesday, and he's probably going to get more playing time, and he's going to get better. But I need to see more. But overall, guys, I mean, it wasn't good enough. We lost. We get it. The thing is, we need to move on from here, right? We need to just continue to go on a run of form. Go on a run of games right now where we just win. Just build a form. Build a winning platform again, right? Hopefully we get Saliba back this week in the Champions League game. He comes back. If he's not ready, don't put him in because it's a Champions League game that we already qualified, right? So we don't need him in this game. But if he's available, let him play because we need him to be ready again for the league. He needs to be match ready, match fit. So maybe second half, we're going to start him and take him off. Whatever Mikel decides, he just needs to get him in there, right? Because our defense, honestly, we need that core back. We at least need the experience in there, Saliba, to calm that back line down. Put Timber back at right back. I know he plays center back for the Netherlands, but he's built a chemistry on that side, right? And that's where you're going to see his best performance. I'm not saying he was bad in center back today, but he would have been better playing right back and maybe switch Ben White at center back because we are saying right now, a lot of people are saying that Timber is probably one of the best right backs in the world right now. And it's a reason why we're saying that because he's performing. So I probably would have left him there and have Ben White play center back. But either way, that four in the back is solid enough to win a game. You might not get the same output in terms of build-up play, but they're good enough to win games. Well, let's see what happens this week, guys. I feel like we could bounce back. It's a blimp. It's only the second loss. I'm not panicking. We're still on course. We could still win the league. We're still leading. We're still 2 points ahead. We're still top of the league, guys. So let's take a positive out of this and let's move forward to the next two games coming up, get our winning form back, and just continue to move forward, guys. Again, appreciate you guys. Smash that like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you think about the video. Let's see what happens this week. We'll come back and talk about it once the game ends. And I appreciate you guys and be